Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's episode of Marketing Home, Marketing You. I'm your host, Barbara Savona, and today we are going to be talking about a subject that I know is a challenge for so many of you, and that is the social media for your community or your management company. Am I right? I hear it all the time. How do I do it? How do I do it well with all the demands? So inside of the Sprout paid membership, I actually have a series and a method that tackles social media, and we provide a social media plan every single month with captions for every single day of the month that you can customize and make your own, plus graphics. But the method I teach is really something that I want to share with all of you. So this is not the full episode. This is not the full workshop. This is exclusive to members, but I want to give you part one of this series so you guys can start to get a feel of building out your social media strategy. Now, this has a resource. So if you go to trysproutfree.com, the worksheet and the planning tool that I use is in there. It's a social media planning tool. It has a calendar and content categories with sample social posting schedules. So you can get that at trysproutfree.com. If you're a member, it's inside of the membership. You get it every single month. And without further ado, I'd love to let you guys in on a little part of how to start tackling social media when you're a busy multifamily professional. Let's go.
Welcome to the Marketing Home, Marketing You podcast. Week after week, Barbara Savona of Sprout Marketing brings you quality conversations with industry leaders, mini marketing workshops, and step-by-step guides on everything marketing, business, and career growth. So grab a cup of coffee and get ready for some outside-the-box ideas from the girl that lives inside the shipping container box.
Welcome, friends, to the social media workshop with me, Barbara Savona of Sprout Marketing. I am so excited to dig into all things social media. How do we make it doable? How do we make it easy? Property managers, on-site teams, you guys have so much on your plate. And sometimes it seems even crazy that the idea of doing social is also part of the job description. So the plan is, how do we make this as simple as possible to still help you reach your goals? The plan is you're going to walk away with our playbook, really the Sprout playbook, to execute your apartment social media strategy. So we're going to talk about the foundation. How do we lay the groundwork? And then once that foundation is solid, how do we build systems that scale? That means that they're doable even when life is throwing everything at you. And then we're going to plan 7 days of social media together so that you can leave here feeling like you're set for the next week, and you can take that off of your to-do list. So are you guys ready? Let's dig in. So I like to talk about social media as kind of a comparison, right? Your website, think of the website as mom and dad. Everybody needs parents in their life to help guide them. They tell them the what's what, they set the ground rules. It's like all your basic information is downloaded by your parents or your website. Now, social media is exactly that. It's a little bit more social. And I like to think of it as the crazy aunt or uncle. I think of myself as the crazy fun aunt. And this is me here with my little nephew, Mavi. And social media is kind of a behind the scenes look at what life is really like. It should have personality. It should be fun. It should inspire people to feel like they have gotten to peek behind the curtain of your community. It's a little bit more than the buttoned up, polished website, right? It's the real. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, the other thing I want you guys to remember, kind of as a foundation for social, is that you actually have two currencies on social media. Now, the very first currency is attention. And I like to think of attention as almost the new dominant currency in the world we live in, with attention being so minimal. People are just, it's the truth. They're pulled in so many different directions. Attention is like the new gold, the new oil. It's literally what people are vying for. And so when you think about that with social media, remember, you are trying to gather that or gain that attention of your residents and your prospects. But it doesn't stop there. The next piece of that is that you want to actually have influence. That's the second currency. And I would say the most valuable, right? Influence is where we can actually have influence over the buying decision, the renewal decisions, and really a lot of other decisions that people living in our communities make. Now, I want to caution you. Sometimes people think just getting out there, posting these fun reels or these kind of crazy captions that get the attention. Sure, they might do that, but not all attention leads to influence. And that's kind of a warning, right? Sometimes we can hop on a trend and it might get a ton of eyeballs. It might even go viral, let's say. But if it's not the right audience, if it's not the right perception of your brand, it's not going to translate into influence. And guys, for us as marketers, we're not on there for vanity metrics, right? We don't just need the likes just to feel good about ourselves. It helps. It sometimes feels nice for when you put together some piece of content and it gets validated. But the whole point is we want to turn attention into influence, and we want that to drive results of what people are actually doing. So how do you then get to the part of not just attention, but then going to influence? Well, that piece takes time. It takes consistency. It takes showing up. And what people say to me sometimes is like, well, Barbara, how am I supposed to do all of that when I'm running a multi-million-dollar asset? I have a team. We have all sorts of things. We've got turnover. We have budgets. We have owners' visits. We have reporting, the day-to-day of property management. And first of all, hats off to you guys on site, because I was a property manager for years. And I wasn't a manager when social media existed. I wasn't a manager during a pandemic. And so for those of you that are on the front lines doing it day in and day out, first of all, I just want you guys to feel seen and heard that I think y'all are pretty incredible for the work that you do. That is why anytime as a marketing company, as a marketing professional, I try to share stuff that's like, okay, this is a great idea, right? We can go to conferences with tons of ideas. How do we make it scalable? How do we make it actionable? How do we make it possible when everything's hitting the fan and things are not going as planned? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about creating social media systems that scale. And what that means when you think in terms of your community, it means that it can be done consistently. It doesn't just have to be done by one person, and it can happen throughout the year in varying seasons and circumstances. So this is one of my favorite quotes. Sometimes you need to slow down to speed up. And for people that are going 100 miles an hour in property management, sometimes that's really hard to do completed, right? So stick with me. I also have a free bonus for you guys. It's actually something that we put together that you're going to love. So first of all, the first thing I want to introduce you to is your new social media BFF. This is the ultimate social media planner. This came about after much trial and error of doing my own social media, our own social media for Sprout. There was a lot of, okay, there's a lot of things that we want to talk about. There's a lot of subjects we want to cover. How do we do that in a month where it doesn't just feel like as if we're bombarding with one type of content? And how do we not get overwhelmed when we don't know what to post about? So each of you has access to this social media planner. You want to download it, get familiar with it. We're going to dig into it a little bit more. The reason that this planner works is this calendar format. It is a fillable PDF. You can fill it out in Canva and do it digitally, or you can print it out, fill out the dates, whatever month you're in, and just start doing your overview of what you want to do. It's almost like your brainstorming session. So what's nice about it is it offers multiple flexible posting schedules that you can imitate or adopt for your community. And then to me, the gold is in the content categories. That really takes the guesswork out of what to post. And so let's talk about that specifically. There are several types of content when you're trying to market an apartment community, and I like to put those into three different buckets. There's the marketing, which is that attention grabbing. That's content that is supposed to drive leads, drive new interest into your community. So in the marketing category, you're going to have things like when you're posting about maybe a potential discount, you're encouraging visits, you want to maybe highlight a unique feature so that people are like, ooh, I'm interested in that. You're spotlighting a product, you're doing a neighborhood feature. So you're not just selling your community, you're kind of selling the whole neighborhood. You're doing tagging a business, you're doing a testimonial, a frequently asked question, a referral, or a follow-up, right? I like to think of these posts as my marketing category. And so when I'm looking at planning out a month, I want to make sure that I have enough of those posts scheduled out. Those are more a sales type of a post, but they don't have to feel salesy. And you guys are going to find out how we're going to balance both of those things. The next category that you're going to have is the category that is the resell. It's the retention. It's the loyalty, right? This is where we're going to do things like get to know the team. Who are the people behind the closed door? This is where you're going to welcome new residents or even new preferred employers to the area. Appreciation posts for your current residents, reminders of just things that, hey, they need to know, events that are coming up, behind the scenes look at what it takes to run your community, business perks, maybe reminders of a VIP program you have for those residents that live at your community, and then posts that maybe encourage reviews or encourage conversations, they encourage feedback. These guys are going to fall in the bucket of retention. Now, sometimes what you're going to find, and you'll see, and this is 100% okay, these are guidelines, we're not getting rigid with it, is that at times you're going to have posts that actually fill both of those buckets. By posting something that is retention focused, like showing an awesome event, somebody that comes to visit your social, remember the fun aunt and uncle of your community, so to speak, they're getting a behind the scenes look at what life is really like. So it actually serves as a marketing tool as well. Retention posts a lot of times do that. They're the double whammy. And marketing sometimes can be a resell, right? You're highlighting an amenity and maybe a resident sees that and they're like, dang, I haven't been using that amenity recently. I need to go back and use it again. So they work together, they work in harmony. The reason we do it like this is it gives you clear direction of saying, okay, at the end of the month, after I've plugged everything in, I have a clear direction, a clear route, and it looks nice. It's a complete picture of what social media is about. It's social, it's selling, it's engaging, it's interacting. And then we have a third category, and I love this category, and some people might say this is the waste of time category, and it is absolutely not. This is a just for fun, or what I like to think of as relatable category. It's where you might post something about seasonal engagement or national fun days like, take your dog to work day. I'll show you about that in a minute. They can be quotes, they can be tips, they can be virtual games, polls, questions, caption this photo, days of the week. Now, again, sometimes they're going to fall in the bucket of also being a marketing post, also being a retention post. In fact, most of the time they will. I like to keep them in this separate category though, because I want to make sure that when you have a plan for the month and you kind of step back, right? Because a lot of times we're so up close to our own content, but I want when you take that step back, that you can see, wow, this is a real complete type of an engagement. Social is like a friendship. And we talked about gaining that trust. Well, friendships take engagement. They take getting to know somebody slowly. You've all met that person that maybe at a party, they tell you their entire life story in 5 seconds. And it's almost overwhelming. Like maybe they share a little too many details and you're kind of like, right? It's because it's like drinking out of a fire hydrant. Now, imagine that you meet someone at this party and you like them. You vibe with their style, their personality. You like their tone of voice. And now every time that you bump into them or you engage with them, they're doling out a little more information. You're kind of getting a behind the scenes. Who are they really? That's your community. That's what you're doing as a marketer. You're just courting your prospects. You're kind of engaging or courting your residents, and you're building this complete picture. And what's awesome about this is while only so many people are looking at your content live and in the moment, when people are in research mode, studies show that they're going back and they're looking at your feed and they're trying to get a complete picture. So these categories make it essential for us to have a very well balanced. We're not going to be that weirdo at the party that spills it all in 2 seconds. We're not going to be the recluse that gives information and then all of a sudden they're gone. They ghost you for 2 or 3 weeks, right? We're going to be consistent, and the categories allow us to do that. Build the social you want with the resources you have right now, not the resources you wish you had. If you wait until all the circumstances are perfect, you probably will never consistently have a posting schedule. So right now, think to yourself, this is a schedule that I've put together, but this is a daily schedule. So you might look at it and say, you know what? Mondays are crazy. We're going to do a Wednesday, Friday marketing schedule, and we're going to do a Thursday retention, and we're going to do a Tuesday fun. And that's your posting schedule. That's totally up to you depending on the team and the capacity that you have. My whole point in this part of the section is commit to something. And that is what consistency will be, right? Action is what is going to differentiate us, the winners and the losers, so to speak, the ones that actually do it and the ones that just think about doing it. So now we're going to the speed up phase. This is where We talk about strategies to magnify your reach and to actually go quicker, to actually deal with things when property management hits you in the face, where everything is blowing up and you're like, I know I need to post to social, but I don't have the brain power. All right, friends, now you've got it. You've got a piece of the secret sauce, the method for making social media scalable. If you like this kind of content and you'd like access to the full series plus a monthly social media plan, we'd love for you to join us inside of the membership. You can go to watchyourbusinesssprout.com and become a Sprout member. It's under solutions and multifamily membership. We also have a membership exclusively for social media if that is the only route that you want to go. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope this kind of starts getting your creative juices flowing on how you can start to systemize your approach to social media. That's it for today. I'll see you next week on another episode of Marketing Home, Marketing You.